On my 18th birthday, instead of cake or presents, my adoptive parents handed me a garbage bag of my belongings and delivered a truth that shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. "We only adopted you for the government subsidy," my mother said, calculator in hand, fingers tapping across the keys as if tallying 18 years of profit. $1,500 a month, Colton. You were a reliable income stream. Now that you're 18, the payments stop. My name is Colton Reed, or at least that's what I'd been called for 18 years. The woman speaking to me is Beverly Reed, the only mother I've ever known. She's 52, a bank teller, and apparently saw me as nothing more than a financial investment. Sitting beside her, avoiding eye contact as he always did, is Harold Reed, my adoptive father. He manages inventory at a hardware store and taught me how to fix engines, lessons I now realize were likely meant to keep me occupied, not out of care. "You're joking," I whispered. "This is my birthday. You're telling me this today." Harold shifted in his chair, the same one where he'd sat for 18 years of silent dinners. "The adoption subsidies end when you turn 18. That was always the deal," he said. I felt my legs weaken. "The deal? I'm your son. I'm not a deal." Beverly finally looked up from her calculator. Her gray eyes were cold, and now I understood why. "No, Colton. You were a ward of the state we agreed to house in exchange for compensation. We fulfilled our contractual obligations. Food, shelter, education. The contract is complete." She stood and pointed to a black garbage bag in the corner of the kitchen. "Your belongings are here. Personal items only. Anything we purchased remains our property. You have until noon to vacate, 2 hours and 13 minutes to make arrangements." Harold hesitated. Maybe we could give him a few days? Beverly shot him a look that had shut him down countless times before. "The mortgage is due tomorrow. We need to list the room this afternoon. Someone's already called." "My room?" I was stunned. "It's not your room. It never was. You were a long-term guest whose stay has ended," she said matter-of-factly. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the two people I had called Mom and Dad. The people I had tried to make proud. Harold wouldn't meet my gaze. Beverly returned to her calculator, already moving on to other numbers, dismissing an 18-year investment like it was nothing. "I don't have anywhere to go," I whispered. "I have $47. Where am I supposed to go?" She handed me a pamphlet, "A homeless shelter downtown." Directions highlighted, like she was giving me a recipe, not sending me into the streets. "Please," I begged. "A week. I'll pay rent. Just give me a week." "With what money?" Beverly asked, her tone implying she already knew. "Your part-time job at the garage won't cover market rent." She was right. Even with the $800 I'd saved for college over 2 years, it wasn't enough for a deposit. Harold got up, unable to sit with his guilt any longer. "I'm going to work," he muttered, grabbing his keys. "Good luck, Colton." And just like that, I was alone with Beverly, her calculator, and a garbage bag containing my life. "The clock is ticking," she said. "I leave at 11:30. The house will be locked." I lifted the bag. It was light. My clothes, a few books, my toothbrush, and a watch from my boss. Nothing from them. No keepsakes. No evidence I had ever been part of this family. "Was I ever anything to you?" I asked. Beverly finally looked at me. "You were a responsibility we managed successfully. We never hit you, starved you, or violated the state's requirements. That should be enough." It wasn't. It would never be enough. "Goodbye, Beverly," I said, not calling her mom for the first time. She returned to her numbers. Growing up in the Reed household in suburban Dallas had felt normal. I thought all families were like that. Transactional. Beverly would introduce me as our adopted son, always emphasizing the word. Harold would nod along, silent, never asserting that I was enough. I was adopted at 3 months. My biological circumstances were a mystery. Beverly kept the paperwork locked, showing it only twice in 18 years. Our house was modest, beige everywhere, functional, efficient. Every choice, color, furniture, heating was filtered through cost and practicality. Harold taught me practical skills. Changing oil, fixing faucets, patching drywall. But I could never touch his prized 1969 Mustang. I now realized that I was never going to be old enough, because I wasn't truly his. School was my escape, and I was average, liked by teachers, tolerated by peers, friends who were never invited home. The house felt like a museum with someone accidentally living in it. I started working at Jennings Auto Repair at 16. Old man Jennings recognized my skill, paid me under the table, and later officially. But Beverly charged me $105 a month for incidentals, utilities, wear and tear, administrative overhead. Every dollar was accounted for. Clothes, school supplies, phone plan, all mine. Beverly said it built character. Harold said nothing. Photos of me were staged and hidden. Art was generic. Dinner was precise, measured, planned for cost and efficiency. Questions about my biological parents were shut down. Birthdays and holidays were acknowledged minimally, practically, never celebrated. By 18, the truth hit. Every memory, every act of care, was filtered through calculation. I realized some people can raise a child for 18 years without ever truly seeing them. On my birthday, Beverly announced again, "Now that you're 18, the checks stop." The words hit like blows. $1,500 a month for 18 years. $324,000. That had been my worth to them. I begged, got on my knees, offered to work, pay rent, buy my own food. Harold looked away. Beverly pointed at the clock. 9:47. You have until noon. When the time came, I held everything I owned in a garbage bag. Beverly gave me directions to a shelter. Harold handed me $20 for food. Then the door closed behind me. I stood on the sidewalk, sweating, alone, and with nowhere to go. Even my phone plan was ending at midnight. My existence in their life had been scheduled, budgeted, and terminated efficiently. 3 months later, sitting outside the Dallas Public Library, I was approached by a man in a gray suit. My instincts screamed to run, but he spoke calmly. "Colton Reed, I'm Vincent Morales, a private investigator. Your biological father hired me years ago to find you." The words biological father sent electricity through me. Theodore Brennan had been searching for me for 18 years, and I was finally being found. But then Vincent revealed he had passed away just 2 days before my birthday. A heart attack. He had planned to meet me, but never made it. Growing up in the Reed household in suburban Dallas felt normal at the time, though now I see it was anything but. Every family has its quirks, right? That's what I told myself when Beverly introduced me at her bank functions as Colton, our adopted son, emphasizing the word as if I were a rescued pet. Harold simply nodded, sipping watered-down beer, never correcting her, never affirming that I was enough as their child. I was adopted at 3 months old, a ward of the state placed with foster-to-adopt parents. Beverly kept all adoption paperwork locked in a cabinet in their bedroom. I'd seen her open it twice in 18 years, both times quickly shutting it when I walked in, like hiding money I shouldn't see. Our house was modest, clean and beige in every detail. Beverly believed color was unnecessary, insisting neutral tones never go out of style. Every decision she made was filtered through efficiency and cost saving. Harold taught me practical skills, changing oil, rotating tires, fixing leaky faucets, but I now realize it was to keep me occupied, not from care. I was never allowed to touch his prized 1969 Mustang. I was perpetually too young, never truly considered his own. The locked basement room should have been my first warning. I'd sometimes hear Beverly on the phone, muffled but clearly discussing numbers. At the time, I thought it was work. Now I know she was coordinating with social workers, confirming deposits, and monitoring my case. School became my escape. I was average at best, unnoticed but not troublemaking. Friends were casual lunch companions, never invited home. Our house felt like a museum where someone accidentally lived. Everything in its place, no warmth, no connection. At 16, I started working at Jennings Auto Repair. Old man Jennings was patient, calling me skilled with engines. My earnings went into savings, but Beverly claimed portions for incidentals, utilities, wear and tear, administrative overhead, $105 a month deducted from my wages. I bought my own clothes, school supplies, and phone plan. She called it building character. Harold remained silent, observing. Our family photos were formal, staged, and stored away. Dinner was punctual, food measured for cost efficiency. Conversations about my past or biological parents were curtly shut down. We stepped up when others wouldn't, Beverly said. Harold quietly added, "Best not to dig into the past, son." One of the rare times he called me that without reading a script. Birthdays and Christmas were practical. Cards were generic, gifts minimal. Trees were down by December 26th. Every memory now feels tainted by the truth. Every calculation of costs, every hushed conversation about me, the boy whose worth had been reduced to a spreadsheet. Then came my 18th birthday. The kitchen table was covered in documents, spreadsheets, and bank statements. Beverly didn't look up from her calculator as she told me, "Now that you're 18, the checks stop coming." I froze. Checks. Harold shifted in his chair, uncomfortable. Beverly explained, $1,500 a month in adoption subsidies for 18 years. That was the reason I was brought into their lives, $324,000 total. She said we provided the state-mandated care, and the contract was complete. I had 2 hours to vacate. Harold murmured, suggesting a few extra days, but Beverly dismissed him. The mortgage was due. Someone was already lined up to rent my room. My room, not mine. I was a long-term guest whose stay ended. My legs shook, voice small. "I don't have anywhere to go. I have $47. Where am I supposed to go?" Beverly handed me a pamphlet for a downtown shelter. Her hands, once responsible for packing my lunches and signing my report cards, now offered directions as if giving a recipe. I begged for a week, promising to pay rent. She shot down the idea, reminding me part-time garage work wouldn't cover market-rate rent. Harold gave me $20 for food and left, leaving me alone with Beverly, her calculator, and my garbage bag of belongings. The bag contained everything I owned: my clothes, a few books, my toothbrush, a watch from my boss. Nothing from Beverly or Harold. No photos, keepsakes, or evidence that I had been part of this family. "Was I ever anything to you?" I asked. She looked at me once and said, "You were a responsibility we managed successfully. That should be enough." I left the house, carrying my life in a bag, $20 in my pocket, and the address of a shelter. Even my phone service was cut off at midnight. Everything in their care had been scheduled, budgeted, and now efficiently terminated. 3 months passed in the shelter, learning to maintain appearances, showering, shaving, washing clothes in sinks, blending in. One afternoon, outside the Dallas Public Library, a man in a gray suit approached. My body tensed, instinctively wary. But he wasn't a threat. "Colton Reed?" he asked, pulling out a leather wallet. He introduced himself as Vincent Morales, a private investigator hired by my biological father. He'd been searching for me for years, legally blocked by sealed adoption records. My heart raced. "Your biological father?" I asked. Vincent explained. Theodore Brennan, my father, had lost his wife in childbirth. Convinced he couldn't care for me alone, he placed me with foster parents. Within a week he regretted it and spent 18 years searching for me, hiring investigators and lawyers, trying to reach me legally. Records show he'd located me 3 years prior, but Beverly and Harold legally blocked him, threatening restraining orders. They had known and hid it to keep collecting state subsidies. I felt white-hot rage. Someone had wanted me. Someone had tried. And Beverly and Harold had kept it from me. Theodore died of a heart attack 2 days before my 18th birthday, holding a plane ticket to find me. Yet his efforts, 18 years in the making, had not been wasted. He had left a detailed plan, letters, gifts, and instructions to claim everything he had built for me. An oil empire, properties, investments, all intended to provide for me and ensure I could continue his work of finding and reconnecting lost children. Vincent drove me to the vault's location in Houston's industrial district. From the outside, it looked like any warehouse. Inside, past 3 layers of security, was a room filled with evidence of my father's 18-year search, private investigator reports, age-progressed photos, newspaper clippings, and correspondence. Every Colton Reed in America had been investigated. In the center were 18 years of unopened birthday presents, carefully labeled by age, a toy fire truck at 4, a baseball glove at 9, a set of car keys at 16. Each gift came with a note. Letters, too, detailed my father's daily thoughts, his hopes for me, and his pride in my life, even from a distance. One letter, written when I was 13, spoke of his love for chemistry, hope that someone was teaching me sports, and his constant pride, even without contact. Then I found a folder titled Failed Adoption Recovery, Reed Family. Inside were documents proving Beverly and Harold had blocked my biological father's attempts to contact me. Emails threatened legal action, claiming that my well-being was disrupted by his pursuit. They knew of his efforts and actively prevented our reunion, all to maintain state subsidies. At the bottom of the folder was a USB drive labeled Final Message. We plugged it in, and Theodore appeared on screen, exhausted but determined. He described his plan to fly to Dallas for my 18th birthday, to finally meet me, and apologized for the delays caused by legal barriers. His love and dedication were clear. Every action he took over 18 years was for me. Miss Chen, the lawyer, explained the full estate. Brennan Oil Industries valued at $91 million, 4 fully paid mansions, a private island named Colton Island, and investments totaling another $30 million, all left to me. For the first time, I had a name that someone had wanted me to have, Colton Brennan. I took over the company, learning from board members who had witnessed my father's relentless search. The mansions felt alien at first, but I kept Theodore's house intact, honoring his memory. The others were converted into transitional housing for foster kids and homeless youth, ensuring that no child experiences what I did. The Dallas shelter where I spent 3 months now receives monthly donations, and Vincent helps me find lost children and reunite them with biological parents. 12 families have been reunited so far. Visiting Beverly and Harold once, I saw the life they'd carefully calculated fall apart without the subsidy checks. They asked for help. I told them truthfully. They were paid in full. Theodore, who never met me in person, had given me everything. Love, care, a legacy. The private island remains, largely untouched, filled with items my father had chosen for me. Books, sports equipment, fishing gear, ready for any version of me he imagined. It's a space where I connect with the father I never met. Old Man Jennings had been right. I do have oil in my blood, literally, but more importantly, I inherited Theodore's determination and refusal to give up. Every decision I make as CEO, I make as Colton Brennan, honoring the man who spent 18 years searching for me. The Theodore Brennan Foster Foundation now places children with verified families, funding their trust funds, but not giving money to parents. I interview every family personally, ensuring they provide love, not just care. I know the difference between a house and a home, caregivers and parents, obligation and love. Last week, I received a letter from a 7-year-old named Marcus. Thank you for my family. They read me stories every night. They say I love you even when I'm not good. They put my pictures on the wall. His letter sits next to Theodore's final note to me. A bridge between 2 generations of love, one lost, one found. The wealth and status cannot erase 3 months of cold showers or 18 years of emotional neglect, but they allow me to ensure no child experiences what I did. Theodore's love, painstakingly accumulated over 18 years, continues to ripple outward. Love isn't a monthly subsidy, a contract, or an obligation. Love is enduring. It's a man spending 18 years and millions to say 3 words he never got to speak. Welcome home, son. Love is the hundreds of unopened gifts, letters written to a ghost, and an empire built as a beacon, hoping the lost child would find their way home. Theodore died believing he'd failed. He hadn't. He spent 18 years teaching me the true meaning of love. To never give up, to build something beautiful from loss, to provide what cannot be bought. I keep his final video on my phone, a reminder that love always finds a way. Some nights, I dream of the birthday dinner he planned, the chocolate cake, the candles, the reunion we never had. In my dreams, he reaches Dallas, and we sit together, two strangers with the same face, finally connecting over cake and tears. In reality, I live in the life he built for me, carrying forward his determination, creating homes and families for those who need them. Beverly and Harold gave me up the moment the check stopped. Theodore never gave up, not even when his heart stopped. That's the difference between a transaction and a transformation, between housing and home, between people who keep you and people who love you. Welcome home, son. I finally made it. I'm home now, in a life built on love, determination, and the unbroken legacy of a father who never stopped searching. If this story touched your heart, like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more true stories that remind us that love always finds a way, even across 18 years and beyond the grave.